Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Ghost. I'm just gonna one take this video. I have some brief notes here of what I wanna talk about. Basically, the topic I wanted to speak about today is why crowd voting is stupid in beatbox battles. I can't believe we're still having this conversation. In my opinion, this is one of the fucking easiest conclusions to come to. If you have basic logic skills, you should be able to deduce this yourself. But because people can't, like I see dumb shits all over social media, all over the comments of YouTube, I'm gonna finish off this conversation once and for all. So I want to preface this first by saying that this is not an attack on the Japanese beatbox community. I say that because crowd voting is a very prominent part of their championship. For example, if they have 2 judges, the 3rd judge will be their crowd vote. If they have 4 judges, the 5th judge will be a crowd vote. That is how they do things over there. It is not a criticism of them specifically. I'm gonna give them some grace. However, if you are not Japanese, I am not gonna give you grace. You are dumb as fuck. But yeah, speaking of, there are also a lot of competitions where I think crowd voting has had a significant effect in making the event worse. Like for example, Beatland. I don't think I need to explain why Beatland is bad, but in case you don't know what that is, like if you're not a beatboxer or something like that, that was some like weird crypto project where people had to like make an account or something to like vote, and then like people were like rigging votes and stuff like that. It was fucking weird. There is also the case of GBB 2018 where one of the competitors dropped out, so they were gonna pick a replacement from the wildcard runner-ups, which is a completely normal thing to do, right? Except that they did it through a Facebook poll, so like like the type that your mom can vote in. Like all you need to do is have a Facebook account, and there's nothing else blocking you from voting in this poll. Obviously, not only is there gonna be regional disparity, there's also gonna be random as fuck people voting in this poll. So I don't know why Swiss Beatbox did that. Ish ended up winning, which is fine. I think he's a great artist. Just the way he got in was fucking weird. I personally voted for Zeka because that was the year he did Silence as his wild card. That should have been in the original set of wild cards that won. I think the judges fucked that one up, but that's beside the point. One of the main reasons why I wanted to talk about this is actually a Japanese competition. That was also an international competition, Haten. If you looked at Haten last year, the finals was Improver versus King Inertia, right? They used a decibel counter to count the crowd vote because that was a prominent part of the competition. And a decibel counter is such a fucking stupid way to determine the crowd vote. Like what if someone in the crowd has like a fucking loud voice, or they bring like a megaphone? Like what, are you gonna count that? What if people are, like there's so many things that could go wrong with like a decibel counter. But anyway, through the decibel counter, Improver ended up winning that vote. And then the judges voted 2 for Improver, and 2 for Inertia. There were 4 judges, so it was split evenly. And because Improver had the crowd vote, he won 3-2 versus Inertia. He became the winner of Haten. An international battle, a very prominent one too. So personally, I would have voted for Improver as well if I was judging the competition. I wasn't there live, but just like based on the video. But that is a crazy way to determine the winner of a very, very high level international competition, right? Like using crowd vote and having the final vote be counted like that. So these are the competitions that kind of encouraged me to continue to have this conversation, because this is something that happened pretty recently too. Like 2024 is not that long ago. So I wanna start off by talking about what makes crowd voting acceptable. And I think as an organizer, you could look at it from the perspective of like, what are your event goals? Are they community oriented or are they individual oriented? So what are examples of some community goals for an event? So it could be like, oh, you want to have a for fun battle to raise money for charity, or you want to highlight these artists to your local audiences, to your local city, so that they could get more of a spotlight, maybe even get booked for gigs through this for fun battle that, you know, it's just like for fun. Maybe you want more audience engagement, and for that reason, you open up a crowd vote. These are all fine reasons to have a crowd vote. The problem is, a lot of the events where crowd vote is happening has individual focus goals. Now, this might not be the right term for it, but what do I mean by that? It could mean like you are using this tournament to determine who is the champion of your local area. Like for example, American champion, Canadian champion, maybe a specific region like New York, Toronto, Vancouver. None of these competitions have crowd vote, by the way. I'm just saying that as an example. Maybe this is supposed to be a very serious competition that you could add to your artist one sheet. Like by participating in GBB, for example, that's a very high optics competition. You want to put that on your artist one sheet so you could be booked for more gigs. You know, there's a lot of views involved as well. Like maybe there's a huge cash prize, like Swiss Beatbox is giving out like $100,000. All of these are reasons, like even if only one of these reasons was present in an event, I think you should completely cut out crowd vote. And that's because as soon as one of these individual goals is introduced to an event, then fairness becomes something that's very important to preserve. You cannot have results be unfair. And by introducing a crowd vote, it's automatically fucked up. And let me go into why. So let's talk about why crowd votes suck. So reason number one, I think this is one of the most obvious reasons. You don't know who's voting. There's no vetting process. So you don't know if the people who are voting, maybe there's like 4 ticket buyers who like go out and vape during Inertia's round or something. They come in, they only hear an Improver's round, so they vote for him. You don't know if someone's going to the bathroom during one of the artist rounds. You don't know if someone, you know, might have like a hearing impairment or they're just like not paying attention during one of the rounds. There is no vetting that's happening. You don't know who is voting. If you look at other things that have like large panels, even if there are like 90 judges, all of those people are still vetted. Like if you look at world's top 50 best restaurants, now you can have an opinion on whether this is a good list or not, but the truth is everyone who's voting in that is vetted through the organization. You can also look at the same for Michelin. You could look at the same for, what's another fucking competition? Like Game Awards, once again, stupid fucking competition. But the people there are pre-selected. They're vetted first, right? Or they're pre-selected by the organization. So the fact that all you need to do to buy a ticket, all you need to do is buy a ticket to vote in this thing is kind of weird. It's kind of like a pay-to-win thing. That's just like a weird way to determine who's voting. So let's say everyone there is fully available when they're voting for the crowd vote, right? There's still another issue, and that is bias and professionalism. There is nothing that is stopping the voter from like voting for their homie who might be upstage. Like let's say like Inertia has like 8 friends in Hot Tent, in Hot Tent's crowd, and Improver has 12 friends. Well, if everything else is equal, Improver's gonna win because he has more friends in the crowd. This is something that could very easily happen. Like it's happened in beatbox house battles before that have a crowd vote. Now, obviously judge panels can be biased as well, right? But the difference between a judge panel and the crowd is that the judges are on this table that is visible to everyone. So if they're making biased votes, they're gonna get shit in the comments, which is why I think anonymous judging is one of the fucking stupidest things ever. Please fucking get rid of that shit. But yeah, like they're in the spotlight for a reason because the idea of being a judge is not only are you expected to make respectful and informed decisions, but you also need to have the ability to defend your decision. You're not gonna hold some random dude in the crowd to that same standard, right? And similarly, if the judges are drinking alcohol or they're on their phone or some shit, they're gonna be seen doing that on video, like Darnie on his phone or the American Champs judges in 2016 getting pissed drunk. That's gonna be cause for criticism. When it's a crowd vote, once again, they're not going to be held to the same standard. So you're kind of like enabling this like inshitifying of your own event by having the crowd participate because they're not going to have the same incentive to be unbiased, to be professional compared to like judges who are going to be in the spotlight, in videos, and have like a demand to like defend their decisions, right? So let's go to the next point. Let's say magically, I don't think this would ever happen. I really don't, because there are so many beatboxers who like watch an Inertia video, but they don't actually watch it. They just like look at the end to see who won. And okay, yeah, let me do this as a little aside. There are so many people who watch like an Inertia or remix video, and they just get pissed if Inertia and remix don't win without watching the video. Like it's so obvious that they didn't watch the video and actually watch the rounds and think about it. So it might not even be biased in the form of like, oh, that person's my homie. Like there could be fanboys in the crowd too that are fucking everything up because of the way they make decisions. Like they're like, oh, I see the name Inertia, I'm gonna vote for Inertia. Like that's fucking stupid, right? So let's say magically in the crowd, everyone is unbiased, everyone is professional, no one is on drugs, no one's drinking, no one's going outside to vape, everyone's completely attentive, right? There's still another problem. Qualifications. So there's a reason why we have esteemed judges, and it's because if you look at React YouTubers, now I'm not encouraging supporting React YouTubers, but if you look at their reactions, there will be videos of Inertia breathing, not even doing a sound. He'll be like breathing really heavily into a mic, and then the React YouTuber will be like, wow, that's sick. These guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And that's going to be the majority of your audience. You can even look at some so fars and see the same thing. Like Reaps one will be doing some fucking advanced ass technique. No one reacts. And then he does, you know, like the fucking techno sound or the drum and bass sound, whatever you want to call it. And then everyone will be like, woo, woo. And it's like, if you're a beatboxer, you know that is one of the easiest sounds ever, but the crowd doesn't know that. The crowd doesn't know that. So that's another element of what makes crowd voting bad is you're going to have so many people who aren't going to be able to judge beatboxing properly. Like, let's say this is the only beatbox battle they've seen. Originality is a big part of the voting process. How are they going to know originality? How are they going to know if the person on stage is copying someone? Let's look at technicality. I just gave the example of how like they're impressed by, even though it's one of the easiest beatbox sounds. They're not gonna know technicality either. They're not gonna know the core components that go into the battle. That's why you get judges that are esteemed. They don't need to be like the most skilled judge ever. They don't need to be the most esteemed judge, but they need to know at least enough about beatbox battling to be able to judge. That's why they're vetted in the first place. You're not supposed to get random fucking people that don't know anything about beatboxing to be on the judge panel. So there's so many elements that go into why crowd voting is a bad idea that I'm just like fucking baffled at how many people even consider the idea. So let's go into this one more time. Let's say you vet everyone in the crowd, which I think is logistically impossible, by the way. You vet all fucking 500 people in your crowd. They all happen to be knowledgeable beatboxers. They all happen to be unbiased, professional, not on any sort of substance. They're all completely present during the battle. They're familiar with the rule set. They're familiar with all the competitors, right? Let's say all of these conditions are met. There's still the problem of the methodology. Once again, the decibel counter. So let's say 249 people vote for Improver. 251 people vote for Inertia. You would think Inertia would win, right? But those 249 people on Improver's side are louder on average, which means Improver wins. That's the fucking problem with the decibel counter. What if I just bring a megaphone and like 10 of my loud friends and I vote for fucking Inertia, right? You're just like shitifying your event by allowing crowd vote. That's what I'm saying. Like there's so many things. Like what if I just go to everyone in the crowd and be like, here's $5, please vote for me. Like there's so many fucking shitty things that can happen. There's another voting method that I've seen from a Swiss beatbox event, which is let's if you know, you want to vote for one guy, you go to this side of the room. If you want to go to the other side, go to that side of the room. Good luck fucking counting that. I guess send some guy through the crowd to count all 500 people that are doing this and expect none of them to move during the entire 20 minutes it's going to take for you to tally all those people without making any human errors or like confusing the same person or like people moving. Like there is, even if everyone in the fucking crowd is qualified, there is no good way to actually assess who the crowd vote winner is unless it's that obvious. But then if it's not that obvious, if it's a close vote, then there's no good way to do it, or like, it's just like logistically going to be difficult. Including a crowd vote defeats the point of the competition. Even if everyone in the crowd was qualified, it is logistically difficult. I don't know why this is an argument that's even continuing. So I'm going to present some solutions. So let's say you're having a competitive event, but you want to have that audience engagement. That's the reason why a lot of people want to integrate crowd vote, is they want to get the crowd involved, right? Look at Beirut Beatbox Battle. They have a people's champion. That's a nice award. Maybe you can even attach a cash prize to it. Like if you want to give money to a certain person that badly, just attach a cash prize to the fucking people's champion. Like that could be a thing. Maybe you could have more community events. Once again, why are you assigning these like fucking like community-based structures to like events that are supposed to seriously determine an artist's career? It just doesn't make sense. You could maybe even talk to the crowd about how the judging process works. Have you ever thought of that as a way of engaging the crowd? It's like maybe the crowd's confused why one competitor is being voted for over the other. Maybe have a panel talk about, hey, this is how we vote. In this specific battle, this is what happened. This is the reasoning. And that maybe that could, create a lot more connection between the community and, the beatboxers overall. Because like, once again, beatboxing is a very high barrier to entry thing. If we're trying to break down the barrier of entry and get more people involved in the community, we need to do it in ways that are fair and not just like shoehorned through things like crowd voting, right? And that goes, I kind of want to talk about something else as well, and it's like the anonymity of the judges. The reason why people call for, like, kind of like defend this is like, judges get cyberbullied a lot. That's a shitty reality. They get a lot of shit for their decisions. At the same time, I think part of being a judge is having the ability to defend your decision, right? I think the reason why we get so much, we like throw so much flack at the judges when they make these public votes is because no one's ever explaining their decisions. There's a lack of transparency. Think about game companies when they like make stupid fucking decisions and then they don't explain them. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to get a bunch of shit. So, and this is applicable to like every community as well. So why not beatboxing as well? Why not hold people to the standard that when they make important decisions, they should be able to explain them? That is just like a reality. Imagine like politicians didn't explain their decisions. I mean, a lot of the times they don't, or they don't do it adequately, but that's beside the point. The point is that we're trying to aim for a gold standard here. So that's about it. Let me know your thoughts. I probably rambled a lot in this video, but yeah, fuck crowd voting. Please stop doing it.